Thanks for tuning in to our Emmy Contenders series. My name is Yvonne Villarreal, and I cover television. We're here today with Justina Machado and Isabella Gomez, who star as mother and daughter in Netflix's One Day at a Time. Hi.
Hi.
I feel like everyone missed the pre-show that we just had.
Yeah. It was pretty good, guys. Yeah. They missed it for a reason. But we're happy to be here.
I want you to share the superstition, though, that we have about putting your purse on the floor.
Well, our fabulous publicist, Brandy, is holding my purse, and I looked, and the purse was on the floor, and I'm like, Brandy, pick up that purse. This has not been the best month. Money is gonna fall out of that purse, girlfriend.
I never followed this, and maybe I should.
Yes.
Maybe I should.
Yes. It's like, what other things? I mean, you guys tackled Vicks Vapor Rub. Yes.
I think another thing that is very true. I think that whenever anybody talks about Santeria, that they don't want to do it, but then they're like respect it. That is so true, right? Everybody's like, no. They never want to talk bad about it.
I mean, I legit will call my agents and be like, I don't want to do any paranormal stuff. I don't mess with it.
Yes.
I'm not gonna let them do their thing.
Yeah, we can stay distant. So let's start off with a question that, I'm sure you get all the time. Everyone wants an update. What can you tell us about the status?
We're still in the same situation. We're still shopping it around. We have limited resources right now because of the contract and all that stuff. But we are shopping it around, and we're still hopeful. Yeah.
We keep saying that we're not dead yet. We're on life support.
I know. I don't know what that sounds like.
Don't bring up that after the whole
after
Lydia.
season 2?
Yeah, don't go
But
there.
she came back.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, wow.
Yes.
I mean,
She came
foreshadowing.
back. I love that. Yes.
Well, what have you thought about the sort of conversations this has opened up about Latinx representation on TV? Like, what are your thoughts on the state of it right now?
I mean, the scary thing is that whatever happens with whatever representation there is out there with Latinx or LGBTQ, it's going to dictate what happens after us. So our show getting canceled is not just about we love our show and we want to keep making the show because we love each other and we love what we're doing. It's also about now next time there's a Latinx show trying to be sold, the studio's going to say, well, it doesn't make money. Which isn't true. It's just not true. It's just not true. But that's what's difficult about it, which is why we're trying so hard to shop it around, because we know it's bigger than us. It's representation for the Latinx community, for LGBTQ, for single moms, for veterans, for
people with
health
issues.
Yes, it's just
sobriety issues. I mean, we can go down the list of what our show meant and why it means so much to us and why we're still on this campaign. Because most of the time when something is over, it's just over. This is the nature of the business, and then you move on.
Right.
But when it's something bigger, then it's when it's important.
that's why people are so upset.
Yeah.
And that's why people are so vocal about it even so long after, because this show meant more than just a TV show. It's more than just entertainment.
Yeah.
What did it remind you of? Because I remember last time we had you in for a chat, you were talking about that pilot you were on. Was it I Love Lupe?
Yes. Yeah.
About being told that
when I did that pilot, I think it was 1996 or 90, I think it was 96. And I remember that it did really well. It was called I Love Lupe. Her name was Lupe. She was Cuban. Okay. Yvonne Cole was my mother. It was a really great pilot. And I remember it was Fox and it was Castle Rock and Fox at the time. And someone from Castle Rock, which I don't think is around anymore, it's a studio, said the show's fantastic. Everybody loves it. But we don't think the world is ready for a Latino family in 1996. So, so, I was so young, I didn't even realize how messed up that was. Because when you're that young, you're just gonna keep it moving, And here we are, 2019, and the world is ready. And what we need, and anybody who puts that show out there, number one is support from the studios, support from the networks, and over and over again, I don't know how many times I'm going to say this, support from our own people. Not just narcos, not just, listen, I love Queen of the South. I really do love Queen of the South. Not just those shows. All of these other shows, you have to support it. I mean, we have to support each other. Otherwise, you're not going to get anything else. And that's just the reality.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about season 3, which opened up with such an amazing season premiere, even though it was set at a funeral.
Best times.
I mean,
We had Gloria Stefan on the show.
Yeah.
Tell me what that was like. I mean, did everyone want to be a guest in that audience? Like, how were you reacting?
That's true. Yes,
yeah.
yes. I had people saying, I have like 6 or 7 people that want to come. I'm like, no.
I know.
No.
Our audience coordinator is like, no, there's
Yeah.
just not enough
There's
seats.
not enough seats.
Everybody.
Because it also wasn't just her, it was Stephanie Beatrice and Melissa
Yes,
Fumero
yes.
from Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Yeah.
So it was like people were losing their minds, including us.
Yes.
It was lovely. It was so much fun.
What was it like being in scenes with her?
I fun, but of course I was like scared. I have to be honest. It was difficult for me to go up and just talk to her because I kept saying, "Oh my God, there's a Gloria Estefan." You know what I mean? So I wanted to be so witty and charming around her, and I just ended up being quiet. I can't think of anything to say.
And I was talking to her, I was like, I talk all the time. If I'm not talking, there's a problem.
Yes, a big deal for me. I was like, this is the corner. But she was so great. She made everybody, like when the show was over, she walked in with a huge bottle of tequila and like everybody taking shots.
I was still not 21.
Yes.
And she brought me cupcakes. And she brought me like this ring. So she was like, I got everybody else tequila, pero. And I was like, I love you.
She did. And she got us all a beautiful bottle of something. She found out what we like to drink and got it for
Wow.
us. But the best was having a shot with Gloria Estefan in my dressing room, by the way.
Wow.
In my dressing room.
I
And they all
wasn't
kinda
there.
gathered. Oh. You were too young. We had a bouncer at my dressing room door. Marcel was bouncing. He was like, can't come in.
That's amazing. That's amazing. But could you relate to that storyline of the family grudges?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Latinos, believe me, I have to check myself because I can hold a grudge.
Yeah.
And I got to check myself on it. So if I can hold a grudge, then literally I know. Yeah, all of that was normal.
Yeah.
Right? It
It's
seems
also
like normal.
every little thing becomes bigger
Every
than
little
it is.
thing.
And everyone has something to do with
Yeah.
it. And it's like, it's
Yeah.
family. I was like, that's
Yeah.
my family.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, 3 seasons in, like, what has it been like sort of developing these characters and settling into them? And what have you come to admire about Penelope and Elena? I was going to let her go first.
No. It's wow. It's like I don't even know. It started off as just a really great role. When I walked in and I read those sides and I read that script and I saw what an incredibly layered, fantastic character this was. And
Because you were hesitant at first, right? You didn't know what it was going to be
Well,
before you knew
yeah.
who was attached.
Well, no, that's not true because I had to audition.
I
The only one
see.
that was attached was Rita Moreno.
I see.
She was already attached. But I was working on Queen of the South and I was in Dallas and then I just flew in for the audition because I knew my storyline was coming to an end out there. I was very interested in it because it was Norman Lear and it was Rita Moreno. I was hopeful that it would be something great and it
Yeah.
wouldn't be some generic kind
Right.
of thing that I got used to seeing.
Yeah.
And when I got those sides, I thought, whoa, this is really good. And if they let me do what I want to do, then I think maybe we can find the marriage. And so at first it was just this great part and being around all these incredible, wonderful, talented young actors, these legends, these incredible people. And then towards the end, like we just finished saying, it became something bigger. It became about not just my part, not just that I got this cool part, that I literally, there is representation going out into the world. There are people that feel seen. We are changing the narrative of our people that is out there all the time. And we're doing it with compassion. It's thoughtful, it's smart, it's funny, and it was pretty brilliant. And so that's what it became for me, the 3rd season.
How about for you, getting to know Elena a little bit more?
It's so interesting how you settle into a character and they become a part of you and you become a part of them. And it isn't until the show was canceled that you start auditioning and you're like, oh, not everything is as easy and organic and
Yeah.
good.
Exactly. Which is why I was like, whoa.
I know. It's such a shock. Like I've spent my entire adult life on this show. And so then it makes me appreciate it even more now that I'm back in the auditioning world and seeing the content that's out there. There's great stuff, but it's also like once you're on a Norman Lear show, making stuff like this, and it becomes, this family was second nature to us at this point because the writing was so magnificent that yes, it was work, but it was work in the best of ways. It was fun. It was like, we just got to come in and be these incredible people, and especially like Elena, I always say I want to be like Elena when I grow up. She's incredible and I admire her so much, and I think I've become a better person through playing her. So this third season was great. It was so much easier because we already knew who they were, and because the writers knew who we were, and it was all just such a perfect, well-oiled machine.
How about the mother-daughter dynamic? I mean, we'll talk about that because you're both here.
I mean,
Not
have you
that-
seen how we are together?
Yeah, it wasn't hard.
Penelope is such an ally for Elena, and you know, in our community, dealing with some of this stuff is hard, like because we're just not used to it, or we don't know how to talk about these things. So talk about sort of being that bridge between Elena and maybe like Lydia, like who's very, you know, traditional, and like sort of embracing her daughter and you know, being there for her.
I mean, I don't have children, but I have brothers that are 17 years younger than me and a sister that's 14 years younger than me. So, and I have a brother who happens to be gay. So in my family, that was really what it was.
Wow.
You know, so we're all allies. So even though our community sometimes, I wonder if it's changing. I don't want to really make that kind of assumption because I wonder if it's changing and it's not as much as it was, you know? I don't know. But I do know that that was natural. I couldn't see it any other way, really. That, to me, was something that I grew up with, that I've seen around me, and that I understand. And so it came naturally. It just felt right. I mean, if they would have written it another way, I could have played that too, and that could be another reality.
Right.
Do you know? But I think that the way we handled it, and also the way they handled Penelope coming to terms with her daughter's sexuality, that was awesome. Because it wasn't just like, okay, great. It was like, oh, wait, I am an ally, but I don't feel right about this. I'm feeling weird. And as long as we put that out there, then I think that makes people, that opens up conversation. Because if we just say, no, it's got to be this way, if it's got to be that way, they're like, that's not real life. But when you show somebody that there are those, and even if we showed in a 30-minute gap in one episode, it still matters, you know, and it makes a difference. So to me, that was really natural and a story that I knew well.
How is it having Justina as a mom?
Justina's, can I curse? Oh my God, I was about to just. Justina's the best, I'll say, but with your imaginations, imagine what I wanted to say.
Hey.
It's funny because Justina's such a mama bear in real life, and with Marcel and I, she's always been that. She's like, don't touch my kids. We make sure they're okay, make sure everything's good. So it comes very natural. I mean, from the moment we met, I was like, Mom!
I know
what's
she
up?
did. It was so cute.
Like, let's
She
do
literally
this thing.
walked in the audition and she's like, "Hi, Mom." I was like, "Oh, she's good. She's good." I was like, "That's really good," because it wasn't obnoxious. Because you know, sometimes somebody will be there, "Oh, you're like that obnoxious ass kid, right?" But it was like, it wasn't obnoxious. It was like really, like, it was so adorable. Exactly who she is, and I was like, "Oh, that's great." You know, there's a lot of personality.
Well, and Penelope's dealing with her kids sort of in their teenagedom, going through some things like, you know, she's having her first sexual experience, she's coming out, and Marcel's character is like, you know, dealing with the drug stuff and how to treat women. What has it been like to see Penelope sort of take on this sort of new period with her kids, and as a single mom, but as a single mom that has support?
I think it's great. I think it's going to empower all the wonderful single mothers out there that have their mothers there, or that feel like they are overwhelmed and feel like they can't handle it. I think it's a great thing to look at and learn from, really. So, yeah, I feel great about that, that they made her go through that journey with her teenage daughter, that it was the daughter and not the son. Because so many times we make it about the son having, you know, sex for the first time, and that it was actually the daughter in, you know, a same-sex relationship and how beautifully they handled it. These two young adults, and they showed that to people. That was so beautiful. So I think that whole episode was really important because I think it would help anybody going through that situation.
What were your thoughts when I know that there had been plans to explore this and it got sort of put on the back burner, but when it was finally when it finally came to fruition, talk about the importance of exploring it and maybe your fears about it.
I mean, I've said this a million times. I was petrified, just so scared. For one, I've never seen a conversation like that on TV between any kind of young person ever, and not even really adults either. And for me, as a woman, it's, you know how it is in the world and having sexual experiences and dealing with that and what it means. So I was so scared, but it was written so beautifully. And I think it's so crucial that we have these conversations because the media is so sex-driven. And, sex sells, but it really messes with people's minds because what we see in the media and in porn and in whatever else is not how sex works. And unfortunately, we've gotten to a point where people are just doing these things because they feel like they have to or to fit in or whatever, and not having conversations about it. And the fact of the matter is, if you can't have a conversation with your partner, you aren't ready to have sex. Because even scientifically, there's so many things that happen in your brain chemically when you do that, especially for women, that are going to change you. So to be able to have these two young people who are in love, who have chosen each other, have this very mature conversation of, I'm scared, I don't know what this is gonna do, but I love you and I wanna do this with you and I wanna share this part of myself with you, was so beautiful. I think it was so crucial to show young people that healthy sex conversations not only can happen, but they're not gonna ruin the mood. They're not awkward. Again, if you can't do it, you're also not ready. But I think, I always hear a lot in my generation, especially with the Me Too movement and everything now, is if you're asking for consent or you're talking about it, then it ruins the flow or it's not sexy. And I'm like, there's nothing sexier than somebody taking care of you and making sure that you're having a good time. So it was lovely. It was terrifying. I blacked out most of that week. I was so scared, wanted to do it justice so bad, and also was just like, it's a scary thing to do, but it was pretty cool.
How about another thread that people seem to really grasp on is the way the show handles mental health. And we saw Elena sort of experience the anxiety this season that her mother has. Talk about, going there. I don't know how much you relate to what she's going through, but talk about doing that storyline justice.
I was also scared about that. I've never been formally diagnosed, but I believe, when I say this carefully, that I've had anxiety for a very long time. And very much, and most of my family's still in Colombia, and it's not anxiety, you're just stressed. I'm like, cool, I can't breathe. Stress. And I'm like, cool, awesome. But the way that I've experienced anxiety was actually kind of unlike Elena, and I think we all experience it differently. So to me, I had a lot of, not fights, but a lot of conversations with Gloria about this doesn't ring true to me, and I don't want to portray this in a jokey way, and I want to make sure I'm doing it justice because it's so important, especially for our community. And I learned a lot about it because I didn't realize that people experienced it so differently. And it was lovely to get to share that part of myself. I mean, it was a hard season for me because it was two subject matters that are very personal to me. But it was lovely. I loved that there was this connection in that conversation where Penelope was like, whatever we need to do, we got you and you're gonna be okay. Again, modeling that kind of behavior for other families and showing them just because your kid has anxiety or depression or whatever they have doesn't make them a different person, and we can handle this and make sure that people are okay and comfortable and safe and still be ourselves and be this family was such a treat to be able to do.
What are your mentions like because of these storylines? Because I imagine a lot of young people see themselves in what she's going through with a lot of what she went through this season.
The fans are the greatest, and the fans have always been the greatest, not only with my storylines, but everybody's storylines, because they're so true to life, and it's stuff that people are actually going through. I get a lot of long messages, which are
it's hard,
It's hard. It's also I want to connect with everybody, especially when people are like opening themselves up like that and telling you these things about their lives, and like, because of you I was able to come out, or because of you, like, I'm on antidepressants now, or because of your show and the story.
Yeah.
It's very heavy stuff, and the fact that we get to be that vessel is such an honor. And so the mentions are lovely. Everybody's, again, people love this show for a reason, and a lot of that has to do with the writing and what the stories we're telling, and people are very touched by it.
Yeah.
How about we see Penelope in the season finale get her diploma?
Yes.
Yes, queen.
Love it.
It was such like it's a scene that sort of like gave me chills, because it was just so nice to see her, you know, reach that moment for herself. And, you know, she's come to the realization that what she envisioned in her, like, happening in her life is different now. And she's okay with that. She doesn't need to have a man. It would be nice, but it's not necessary for her to be happy. Talk about that sort of culmination for her, that realization.
Well, I think I loved it, because here she is. You've always seen her just being this really great woman, but a really great mother and a great daughter, and supporting Lydia's thing with getting her citizenship and supporting her children.
And Schneider.
And Schneider. So you never really see her. I mean, you know, she's fun. She's a great character, but you don't see like her dreams, you know? And so I think that's reality. I think when you become a certain age, and listen, I have a very incredible, blessed life, but it's also different than what I imagined.
Yeah.
It's very different than what I imagined, and it's still fantastic. Do you know? So when you can come to that realization as an adult and go, okay, it's not exactly the way I thought it was going to be, but it's pretty dope. You know what I mean? So I also think that's great to like model that behavior out there, because so many people feel like failures because they didn't reach that thing that they set out. But then life took them somewhere else, and then they were fantastic. So just to see, I loved the culmination of that, and I loved Penelope's storyline. If that is the end, if this is the end, it's a beautiful ending for her, and it's one she deserves.
Yes. Well, we also see your boss come in front of the camera this season. Gloria plays
like our boss.
And I was like, which one? I was like, Stephen Tobolowsky? And I was like,
that's where you went first.
to Stephen. She went to Norman. Okay, you said boss. I'm like, Stephen Tobolowsky?
Norman wasn't in the show.
Boss.
That's amazing. But Gloria's in this season, and she plays a doppelganger of sorts to your character.
Yes.
And
Hilarious.
she's Victor's new fiance and eventual wife. What was it like having her on that side?
It was great. It was so much fun. She had such a great time. And you know what was really beautiful is that first of all, you know how supportive Gloria is, right? And you know what an incredible showrunner she and Mike are together. But the one thing that was interesting, and she's always loved and respected, and they love what we do, but when she was on the other side, she said, oh my God.
Yeah.
Yes, girl.
Yeah.
She was like, this is not that easy. And even though she was killing it. And I loved it because it gave her she already had deep love.
Right.
And it just gave her like a deeper love of what it's like on that other side. And you know, Gloria is an actor, so it's not like, but the pace that we go at, and then being in front of a studio audience, you know what I mean? And having that balance of like, you're entertaining them, but you're also doing a job. So if you've got to do it over and over again, you can't worry if they're gonna get bored. And they're not, you know, but I had to get over that in the beginning. I was like, oh my God, I don't want to bore them. I don't want if I mess up. And then it's like, no, they love all that. They love them, and believe me, they loved when Rita used to mess up.
Oh my God.
Because Rita gave them a show when she messed up.
Every time.
And they were just like, they died for her. So it was so much fun to have her on that other side, and to see her acting chops, and to see us being doppelgangers.
It was also so fun that like we always have 1.5 million questions and like things that we want to talk about, and she was just there.
Yeah.
We didn't have to call up to
that's
the
true.
writers' room.
True.
No, they were just like, Gloria, come here.
That's true.
Let me ask you.
I don't know about this line, man.
Can I change that?
Yeah. Sure. That was cool. It was good to have her on set for that.
It's also so cool in the sense of seeing this woman create her own opportunities, and in doing so, creating opportunities for so many other
Absolutely.
people. Like she was She wrote, produced, show ran, directed, and was in the finale. The finale.
I was gonna ask you, like, what has it been like to see her, like, do what she does, like, and like, how has she been inspiring to you? And also Rita Moreno, same question.
It's very inspiring in the sense of, like, I always thought of, I'm just an actor and that's what I do. And then you get onto a set like this where, like, Todd's directing and Gloria's doing literally everything. And, like, everybody's so talented that you're like, there's so many other things that I could do. And she does it in a way that was so nurturing.
Yeah.
And she was always said, she was like, if you want to shadow, if you want to do this, if you want to come watch us write, if you want to come watch it, come.
Yeah.
Do it, learn, because this is where the place to do it. And so seeing somebody that's not only opening doors for herself, but being like, and then you come in, and then this woman director's going to come in, and this mom's going to come in and direct, and we're going to do this thing was so cool to see, because this industry can be so rough sometimes.
But it also shows you how women should be in charge more.
Yes.
You know, because she was the showrunner, she was able to do all of that stuff because she was the showrunner, not because she was the guest actress coming in or was the lead actress coming in. She had the most power on that set. So when she's able to create these kind of opportunities for herself, and like Isabella said, also open the door for everybody, it just shows you more women should be in charge.
So what's your favorite Rita story?
Oh my God, there's so many. There's so many.
Some
of them are inappropriate.
So most of them are inappropriate. Most of them. We can't repeat the things that she says and does.
Honestly, I can't, because most of them are inappropriate. And
Or also, you're like, is she just telling us this in private, or does everybody know? You're like,
I mean, and then you get on stage and everybody knows. You know? All fun, all fun. No, oh my God, there's so many. Let's think of what's a great Rita story?
I mean, one of my favorite things was when we were shooting the pilot, I had no real grasp of who Rita was in the sense to, like, what she meant to people. Like, obviously I was like, this is an EGOT and she's super talented. But I remember coming down and there's, like, a crowd in the living room and I'm like, what's happening? Did I miss something? What the heck? And it's Rita sitting in a chair talking about dating Elvis and, like, all these things that she did for fun.
Oh my God.
And just, like, just talking about it. And I was like Elvis, like and they're like, yeah, dude, like, let's continue on. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm in Hollywood.
Yes.
I was like, this is it.
Okay, so then that makes me think of the first day that we had rehearsal, our first rehearsal, and she was staying at some hotel in Westwood, somewhere in Culver City, I don't even know. And she's like, come have a glass of champagne with me. I'm gonna buy you an expensive glass of champagne.
Wow.
So we go, and I'm going, oh my God, I'm gonna freaking champagne with Rita Moreno, right? I'm like, I don't believe this. So we both go, and she stirs her champagne, which I thought was so cute to keep the bubbles. And I was just like looking at everything she did.
Like, I'll do it.
And I'm drinking champagne with her, and she proceeds to tell me about, Marlon Brando. And it's some intimacies about Marlon Brando, and then go like this, yes! And I'm thinking, this woman is amazing. I'm having champagne with her. She's talking to me about Marlon Brando, giving me the tea, spilling the tea.
Spilling the tea.
And then I'm like, this is awesome. So I guess, yes, thank you for
That's amazing.
She's great.
Well, another show that's coming to an end soon is Jane the Virgin, which, you have a history with.
Yeah.
What was it like, being part of that show too? And, like, tell me what it's like working with Jaime.
I thought you were gonna say Gina. No,
Jaime.
Let me tell you something. I did a play with Jaime in 2005.
Really?
We did Mambo Kings, and it was supposed to go. That's the first time I met him, and we were supposed to go to New York, but then we literally got shut down after San Francisco.
Oh my God.
But we were in New York for a month rehearsing. We went to San Francisco to do the tryouts. I had no idea Jaime was so famous. When we would walk out of the back door, there were about 100 to 200, and I was like, what the hell does this guy do? And they're like, he's like a huge star in Mexico. I'm like, oh my God. Super wonderful guy. So that's where I'll tell you. He is very famous in his country, and he's very famous here. And he is so lovely. I can't, what do I tell you about a man that's, like, so incredibly lovely? He's like his character without the narcissism.
Yeah.
Like, he's so lovely. He's so supportive. I mean, he's such a great father and such a great husband. And just a really hard worker, because I don't know if people know, but Jaime, you know, he didn't really have to work that hard from where he comes from. And, you know, he comes from a very pretty, like,
Legit.
plush background.
Yeah.
But he works so hard. He works so hard. So there you go. That's the kind of
Well,
gentleman
I
that he
didn't
is.
know you were roommates for a brief time with Yvonne Cole.
Oh my.
For a year, I lived with her when I was 20, from 25 to 26.
Wow,
I lived
how
with
did that
Yvonne Cole.
happen? Because
we
of
were
the
really
show?
good friends, and I was broke. And I was like, I was living in some apartment in Atwater Village. It was like $800 a month. That was so much money for me back then. And I was really broke, and I was not working, and Yvonne Cole, we were very good friends, and she said, come rent my other room for like half that price, and she helped me out.
Wow.
And that's how it happened.
She has some stories too.
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
her
girl.
dancing.
Yes,
Oh
yes.
my God.
Yeah.
She was also on
And
our
Carlos
show.
Gomez was our neighbor.
Oh, I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
so it was like me, Yvonne, and then Carlos Gomez was right here. I mean, it's amazing. But yeah, go ahead. She was on the show.
She was on the show. She was
Yeah.
great. And can I also just say, you, Rita, and Gloria were all on Jane.
Yes, and
I'm so mad. I was like the whole time I was like, I'm just waiting.
She wanted to be on it so bad.
Which, by the way, like we all know, like Gina's like my.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Justina was like, come here, come meet Gina, and I was like, hey, I just really love you so much. It's gonna be on your show.
You went to with her house that day. Yeah,
You're like,
exactly.
girl, act cool.
Yeah, no. Just like, do your thing, girl. Do your thing.
So walked in, they're like, hey, girl.
Yeah, it was good. It's a good. I mean, it's a beautiful show. It
was a great
And
show.
I think it's so amazing. Jenny Erman is so brilliant. I love Jenny Erman so much. And it's like, and of course she had Gina Rodriguez, who everybody loves, and it's fantastic. And Jaime and Andrea and Yvonne
Yeah.
Cole. What a cast. Justin, Yael. We can go on and on with this incredible cast that they had, and these really important stories. And Jenny Erman is just a genius. And all of her writing staff, they were all geniuses. So believe me, it was like working, you know, I had One Day at a Time with Jane the Virgin. What a great 3 seasons,
That's
right?
why she wanted in.
I know.
I was like, how can I
Exactly. Left her
fit
hanging.
in here?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, I have to ask you about, because it's my favorite show, like probably of all time.
What?
Being on ER.
Really?
Ooh. I thought you were
I
gonna say
really liked that show too. I really liked it.
And you were on it twice.
Yes, because they forgot I was on it. Because I did the live episode in 1990 something. Oh my God, I'm so aging myself. But don't I have good genes, people?
You do.
Latina Patina, no. So
yeah.
in the 90s, I did their live episode, and I forget, I did that, and then I think it was 15 years later, because they were on for 15 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that was their second season. So 13 years later, or 14, I went in for this character that had this big arc, and I got it. And I remember they forgot I had been on the show because it was 15 years. So I started off
But
as
did you remembered and you were just like,
yeah, of
Yeah,
course.
of
I was
course.
like, well, if they're not going to say anything, I'm not going to say anything. Because I was like, but you guys, if they remember I was on the show, just go in. It's been 15 years.
Yeah.
And it
That'd
worked
be
out.
amazing.
It's a great show, man. That was a great show. And not only was it a great show, I'm like, what an incredible group of people. And I'll say that from like the beginning to the end. That's why that show was so successful, because it starts from the top. And if you're fantastic from the top, then it just trickles down. So
Yeah.
it was fun.
It was fun watching because
Yeah.
I was like, wait, and then wait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
wait a minute.
Yeah.
She looks the same.
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
Yes, you do. But I love you.
So as we wait for the status on One Day at a Time, if you could have your say of what you would see in your character for season 4, I mean, what would you hope for?
I say this all the time. I mean, she's going to college soon, so I'd love to see that and like the process, and I'd love to see. Marcella and I always talk about we want to see our characters in school, because
yeah.
we also think whatever teacher we have would be
Yeah.
a cool
Oh,
guest
yeah.
star.
That's true.
And like the debate team I wanted to be, I was gonna go to school for law, so like the debate thing is really interesting to me. But just herself, like Elena handling herself as an adult in college and what that process would have been like would be really cool.
I would like to have gone on the ride with them, because, you know, I love everything that they wrote for Penelope. I really, you know, there was always little things here and there that we all had discussions about, but her overall storyline has always been fantastic, and I have nothing to do with it. That's all Gloria and Mike. I have nothing to do with it. So I would just allow them to keep being brilliant and show me what's next.
Also, I just want to say to the audience, we just learned that Mike Royce is learning Spanish, the co-showrunner. What's a Spanish word you would teach him?
Oh, no, it's a bad one.
I would teach him. Mike and I have this thing where every time we see each other, we go, "It's Tuesday," because we used to shoot on Tuesdays. So I would just teach him "Es martes." He probably knows that one. Es martes.
I don't know. I was going to say something terrible. But I think I would.
It's rubbed off on you.
It's not good. I think, I think I would say the biggest Puerto Rican word, which is bendito.
Bendito.
Bendito. And it's really sad because bendito means everything. Ay bendito, nena. Ay bendito.
Yeah.
She says it.
I say it
She
all
literally
the
walks around
time.
saying dito, dito. I was like, we got it.
Middle school and high school, I was with a bunch of Puerto Ricans. I was just like, bendito.
She says it all the time. I love it. So there you go.
Well, we're going to wrap things up with a lightning round. Last show you binge watched.
Dead to Me.
You. That was so good.
Dead to Me is brilliant.
Is
Christina
it? I gotta
Applegate
see
is a
it.
genius,
I gotta
as is
see
Linda
it.
Cardellini. Oh my God.
Were you guys Game of Thrones people?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh. I'm not like talking for the both of us.
Justina, what
Yes.
did you think of the finale?
I didn't like the finale, but I also think that they had 6 episodes, and coming from this part of the world, the industry, I understand they had to do what they had to do. It's not so much what happened; it's how it happened. Everything was crammed into everything, and all of a sudden, I was like, "What happened to my Jon Snow?" I loved him so much. I really did. So I was a little disappointed, but I'll still rewatch the series.
Okay.
So was I, and I didn't watch it.
Yeah.
I really wanted Emilia Clarke's character to
Oh,
win
she's
it all.
so fabulous, right?
She's just the best. I was
It
listening
would
to
have
a
been great to
podcast
see
about
the
her.
women do well because all of a sudden it's like Arya is such a badass, and of course, and Cersei. Oh my God, what an incredible actress she is, right? Because I hate her.
Yeah.
And that's how freaking good she is.
Yeah.
But it would have been great to see these women because we saw that little fabulous girl kill the giant and all that. So yes.
What classic TV show would you have loved to be on?
Any Norman Lear show. I mean, what do you mean classic TV show? I'm like 12 years old.
I know.
Facts of Life.
Grey's Anatomy.
But that's
Is that a classic TV show?
I think it's
That's a
classic.
recent classic,
But it's pretty
sure.
classic.
It's my favorite show.
Oh, she
It's
loves
my
Grey's
favorite
Anatomy.
show. I'm
Okay.
literally like, Shonda.
Yeah.
Just
Shonda.
please.
Facts of Life for sure. I would have loved Facts of Life.
Who's your favorite character?
I loved Blair. And I loved Joe.
So that
like
part
them
in
both.
Dead to Me really spoke to you?
Oh my God, it did.
Yeah.
You got to see that. It's really
Spoilers.
good.
And I'm like, shh.
No,
I
see
gotta
the
see
show,
it.
yeah.
What's the worst job you've ever had? And it doesn't have to be in acting.
Acting's
The
the only
only
job
job.
I've ever had. Thank you, God.
She's very young.
Have you had a terrible experience? You don't have to say
No.
where. Okay.
I've been very lucky.
Okay.
Yeah.
She'll never have another job, so that's good. I worked at Kentucky Fried Chicken, McDonald's, Montgomery Ward. Take your pick.
Montgomery Ward?
They all sucked.
But did you get free fries at McDonald's?
Well, McDonald's is the best, right? Because I loved working at McDonald's to get my little cheeseburger, my fries, and I thought I was being healthy by getting a side salad. But a big old pop, as we say in Chicago.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
But Montgomery Ward, that takes me back.
Montgomery Ward, girl. I was the person who rapped. Yeah,
Really?
I was awful at it. But
Oh my God.
I don't even know what this is.
it was a store like a department store,
Yeah.
you know?
Like a
Like a
Sears.
J.C. Penney or a Sears, yeah.
We'll educate you off
Yes.
camera. Well, thank you guys so much for being here. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Always a pleasure with you.
And for all you, if you want to check out more of our Emmy chats, head over to latimes.com.